Alright folks, I am back once again for episode number 83 of Video Game Reviews. And as you can see by the case that's in front of the camera here, we're covering Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Nintendo Wii in this episode. Now this, of course, the third installment in the Super Smash Bros. Series, following the original Smash Bros. On N64 and Super Smash Bros. Melee on the Nintendo GameCube. Now, and this is the first game in the series that has characters in it, to have playable characters in it, not from Nintendo-made games. Now, of course, like in the original Smash Bros. And the Melee, your objective is to knock your opponent off the screen. And now, this is a bit of a different game from your traditional fighter. Specifically, the simplified move commands, and that the fact the game emphasizes ring outs instead of knockouts. Now, the single-player mode in this game is more in-depth than the N64 Smash Bros. And Melee. It's known as Subspace Emissary, which is a... oops, let's get that back up there. That mode's a plot-driven, side-scrolling beat-em-up, which has computer-generated cutscenes and, of course, a selection of playable characters. Now, you can also do multiplayer on this game with up to 4 participants, and it's the first game in the franchise to have online play. Now, of course, you can play with 4 different controllers in this game. You can play with the standard Wii Remote, the Wii Remote with the Nunchuck, the GameCube controller, and the classic controller simultaneously. Now, of course, there's a large selection of characters in Smash Bros. Smash Bros. Brawl. You've got Mario and Kirby, of course. You've got all the Nintendo characters. And, of course, Pikachu's in there as well. However, the traditional health bars that you would normally have aren't existent in this game. Instead, you start at 0%. And the more damage you take, the higher your percentage goes. If you're not careful, it can even get as high as 999%. Now, of course, the more damage you take, the more further back you go when you're hit. Now, when you're knocked out beyond the stage boundary, disappear from the screen, you lose a life, a point, or coins, depending on which mode you're playing. And there's a variety of attacks that each of the characters in this game use. You execute each move by pressing a button in conjunction with a tilt of the control stick, or by pressing the D-pad, depending on which mode of control you're using. And, of course, there are different items you can use, such as melee weapons. Each one has a different effect on the characters that are around it. There are a lot of items from previous Smash Bros. Games returned in this one, as well as some new ones. Now, 2 different kinds of items, assist trophies and Pokeballs, temporarily summon guest characters, and of course guest Pokemon. However, those can't be controlled. Those guest characters are AI controlled and are usually invincible. Yeah, the Subspace Emissary is the new single-player mode that they have in this version of Smash Bros. I don't think I've played that version yet of single-player. I have done the standard single-player of this game, but not the more extensive one. I might try the extensive one at some point. But yeah, this is definitely a really fun Smash Bros. Game to play. And in fact, I have played this on my channel a couple of times, so if you want to see those videos, and I highly recommend you check them out. Because just like with any Smash Bros. Game, Brawl is definitely a lot of fun. cannot go wrong with a game like this. Alright. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Video Game Reviews. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you next time.